kind of clarify some things with you guys, as well as make this my introduction video to my vlog. I am starting to make videos of my life and what it's like to have a chronic illness. I'm making this before I start getting ready for bed, so that is why we are in my room. If you're watching this and you don't know me, my name's Rachel and I have two kids, a 1-year-old and a 3-year-old. I am also a student at Washington State University. I'm full-time and I don't do any online classes, if you're wondering. About 6 months ago, I got diagnosed with P.O.T.S syndrome. P.O.T.S syndrome is an acronym for postural orthostatic tachycardia syndrome. In other words, my autonomic system no longer works, and if you're confused of what that means, it just means that when I stand up for a period of time, or I'm sitting for a period of time, blood leaves my brain and my heart, pulling at my feet, causing me to pass out. This happens quite frequent for me, about once a day to every other day. I don't typically get symptoms, but if I do, it's typically flushing, and flushing just means that I get very hot, very red, rash all over my body. That will occur when I'm like stressed out, or if I sense a temperature change, a altitude change as well. Airplanes, I tend to pass out the entire flight. I found out that I have P.O.T.S kind of surprisingly. Prior of finding out, I was at the store with my family. My mom was visiting. I was carrying my son in the carrier at that time, and as I was walking, I felt really weak. It felt like I just got hit by something. I got extremely weak. I started slurring my words, and as I was falling to the floor, he managed to catch me. At that moment in time, my husband carried me, and my mom grabbed my boys, carried me to the car, and rushed to the hospital. I was in the hospital the night prior for what they said was dehydration. So for me to go back in for the same symptoms was very alarming to them, because all my test results were coming back normal, and they were just kind of clueless what was going on, so they ended up admitting me to the hospital. I was there at the hospital being monitored, and when I mean monitored, I was bedbound, because every time I stood up to go to the restroom or sat up in my bed, I will instantly pass out. They also noticed, since I was 24-hour watch on a heart monitor, they noticed that my heart rate kept jumping to 53 just by combing my hair. So they kept me for 4 days. And on my 4th day, my doctor at the time came in and explained to me that she will be discharging me. I was so mad. I was so mad, so hurt, so scared. And the last test that she wanted to do prior discharging me was doing an echo. Crying, I was just a mess, because in those 4 days, I did not see my kids. I did not see my husband. I would only see him for a few minutes, but I would have an episode. So as a result of that, they would end up leaving. The woman who was doing my echo was explaining to me that my heart looks healthy, and for me not to freak out, to calm down, and suggest to the doctor that if I have P.O.T.S. I looked at her so confused and mad at the fact that she would suggest something that I assumed that they would test me for. Every hour to every 2 hours, I was getting my blood drawn for a different test, so I assumed not knowing what it was, I assumed that they probably already did. So I said, no, I don't have that. She was like, no, I'm pretty certain that they didn't test you for that. And I'm only suggesting this to you because I have POTS myself, has it, and not to be afraid that there are a bunch of people who do deal with this chronic illness, and for me to suggest it to my doctor. And so as she was leaving, my doctor was coming in with handing me my discharge papers, explaining to me that they will no longer be caring for me because there is nothing for me to do and for me to follow up with my primary care doctor. I was really mad, and I said, no, I'm not leaving. My kids can't depend on me. I would just be in bed all day. This isn't fair. And that's when I suggested that maybe if I do have POTS. My doctor at the time just looked at me in such confusion, and she didn't even know what it was. So she said that she will look it up, and that's all I wanted. So we agreed that she will look it up and look into further information about that and test me for that. She came back and explained to me that they can't test me or validate that I do have POTS, because in order to diagnose POTS, you have to do a tilt table test, and they don't do tilt table tests for inpatient people at that hospital. So so she then suggested that what happens is she were to keep me for 2 extra days to monitor me on a new medication. I ended up improving with the medication, which allowed me to wash my hands, shower while sitting, and withstand a little bit of heat, and walk down the hall halfway without passing out, which was huge because that's all I wanted. So then on the second day, we both mutually agreed that it was time for me to leave and for me to follow up with my primary care doctor. I ended up doing the primary care. I was on my medication that was prescribed at the time, and I was improving drastically. I was able to walk around with my kids without a walker, without any assistance. I just needed assistance or someone in the room while I took a shower because heat will cause me to pass out. That was the only complaint at that time. Today, I have been in and out of the hospital. I have syncope about once a day to every other day. I depend on a walker, not because I have trouble walking, but more for a promise that I will have a place to sit down when I'm feeling sick, or if I feel that it's time for me to sit down because I've been standing for too long. I found some ways to help improve my life as a mother and a student, because I do not have a service dog currently, and I don't have family here to be constantly helping me. So again, that is kind of why I'm making these videos, for people who do have POTS and that can relate to my issues and my circumstances. I also deal with another illness known as hypothyroidism. I have a low thyroid and endometriosis. Endometriosis is a reason why both of my pregnancies were classified as high risk, and why I was constantly in and out of the hospital with my boys when I was pregnant, and why I had so many complications with mainly Xavier. I just wanted to remind the people who are watching that I will be filming my life and the daily activities and my appointments and my struggles and just what it's like to be in my shoes and witness some things that we do that may improve the people who are watching this that are going through the similar situations, that maybe they can learn from these videos and learn maybe from our mistakes, or find that some of the things I do are good ideas. I also want to kind of share that just because you are using a electric cart, or just because you are using a walker or a wheelchair, does not mean that this should hinder you from fulfilling your dreams and for you to stop with the tasks you have had or that you do have in mind. For me, that was my biggest struggle, and my biggest thing for me to accept was that I now have to depend on my husband a lot, which is something that I never imagined. I also have to depend on a walking device. Again, I wanted to say thank you to everyone who watched this long video, and to tune in to my other videos. Thank you guys so much. Hi guys, really quick, before I forget, I am going to also share in the next video of what a episode looks like. My husband last weekend was able to record what he does and some ways to help me receive blood back to my heart and brain faster. Also, the following video is very disturbing for some viewers, so please be advised before viewing. It will just show me passed out. I am unresponsive. It will also show how my kids react as well when I'm in that situation. I'm usually out for 5 minutes, sometimes less, sometimes more. So again, please remember that before watching this next clip. If you choose that this is too disturbing for you to watch, you can go ahead and go to my next video, because I will end with that. Thank you guys.
One of the times where Rachel has one of her episodes, she just finished making dinner for us, and she unfortunately was standing up for too long. And when she does that, this time she actually was feeling sick and told me to help her carry her to the couch, but as soon as we got to the couch, she had an episode and fainted. So right now I'm just trying to help her out by lifting up her feet, getting her blood flowing back from her legs back to her brain. Usually it takes about 5 minutes, 10 minutes max, and then she kind of gets back to consciousness. Right now she's kind of unconscious, so she's not sleeping, she's unconscious, she's breathing, but she's kind of passed out. You okay, babe?
You okay?
And the kid is okay. Xavier is very helpful. We have to help her out, make sure she's okay. And Zane, sometimes they jump on her. Hey, glasses off. Not for you.
Okay.
Sometimes they'll jump on top of her, just kissing her, hugging her, making sure she's okay. It's okay, babe. Just relax. Relax. I'm gonna try to sit up. Yeah, are you okay? The kids worry about her a lot, so they're still too young to understand what's going on, but they understand that she's not just feeling good, and they always jump on top of her. And we feel like when the kids do jump on top of her or get on top of her, even though they're surrounding her, Rachel can still hear them, so it makes her feel a little better and kind of makes her
Who are you talking to?
come back to consciousness. I'm recording you.
Oh.
You feel better now? Yeah?
Thank you, baby.
So I can kind of, I was starting to notice that she was starting to get her red spots. What she does, she starts getting a lot of red spots when she's about to pass out. So when we were sitting down eating, I was letting her know that she was starting to get her red spots. And, those are, for us, we realized that's what happens when she has one of her episodes.